This timeout is sponsored by Augie's Locker Room. Augie's features the largest collection of Notre Dame football memorabilia and gifts, including rare and hard-to-find items.
Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Tim O'Malley with Tim Prister and John Brice of Irish Illustrated outside of Aviva Stadium, where we just spent 10 minutes with Marcus Freeman pre-practice. Also spoke with J.D. Bertrand and Chris Tyree. And I guess the good news is J.D. Bertrand can come talk to us because this year he gets to play, unlike last year. And that was a little bit of the theme of both Freeman's press conference and Bertrand, of course, a guy that we expect to do very well against the option.
Well, he's the key to Notre Dame's defense against a triple option. And so he's in the middle of that. That gives them flexibility with Jack Kaiser. That's a good thing as well. Even better news, Zeke Corral has practiced all week. We saw him limping considerably last week, but he's had time to recover from that. And the good news is that Notre Dame's offensive line is intact as they start the season against Navy.
And Marcus Freeman mentioned he watched the second half game tape on the flight over here. I think that was one of the themes, of course, was that they were kind of bundled in the second half on both sides of the ball. Now, this is basically what can the defense do to adjust to Navy's obvious adjustments that are coming in the second half offensively.
And one thing Marcus Freeman just told us in that press setting is that, you know what, when I watched that film again, there were a lot of effort issues. There were a lot of things that we could have controlled. You can bet if we're hearing that message, the players are and have been hearing that message. I think that's significant. I think that the return of Bertrand is extremely important. He's such a quarterback of the defense, especially against Navy. Those are huge elements.
Chris Tyree will wear number 4 for the rest of the season. We asked him he was asked if there's any special significance. Number 2 in that answer was he wore it in high school, but that's not really the significant thing. Number 1, for all the fans that remember, number 2 on the field twice is a bad thing for Notre Dame. He is the lead punt returner, was wearing number 2. There were going to be 2 punt returners or 2 guys wearing number 2 on the field. That's a no-no for the Irish.
That number 4 has rotated a lot, hasn't
yes,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think getting back to JB's point, the phrase that Marcus Freeman used was the Notre Dame took their foot off the pedal last year, and you just can't do that. I mean, I know it's a cliche, but why are cliches? Because they're true. Navy is going to continue to play, so Notre Dame has to do the same thing. It's a great reminder. Marcus Freeman is going to remind them of that. The players should be aware of that. They were up 35-13 at halftime last year and then didn't score a point. Had 1 first down and gained 12 yards in the second half. So a great reminder that you have to stay after it. And I think, especially with this being the first game of the year, Notre Dame will be prepared to do that.
And I don't mean to interject because we didn't ask Freeman about this, but I did something on Monday Musings looking at Navy in the second half against Notre Dame over the last 10 years. They average just over 14 points a game when they play Notre Dame in the second half. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think Navy can adjust better than other people can adjust at halftime. It's up to Notre Dame to do that as well. But, Tim, you mentioned 1 first down and 35-13 lead. Another guy we talked about today with Marcus Freeman, Sam Hartman, leadership, and he'll be throwing passes this year. That is going to be huge against this Navy defense.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say a little bit better settled situation at quarterback for Notre Dame going into this game this year versus even at halftime a year ago when Notre Dame still was continuing week after week, honestly, to find its offensive footing. So everybody's eager to see what Sam Hartman does. I know Marcus Freeman referenced the gifts, especially the Under Armour shoes and those dapper gold Beats by Dre headphones. And so it was interesting that Marcus made a point to interject that in there, much as I just did here. But everybody's excited for Sam Hartman. I do find that his leadership has really resonated with players. He's been a man of the people. He has also sacrificed for Notre Dame at times when he stayed around on some weekends that they've had recruits in when he could have possibly gone fishing or something like that. And the man loves to fish. He told me point blank, I would fish if I didn't play football. So I think those are selfless things that don't show up in a box score that have Sam Hartman fully ready for Notre Dame and to be this leader for Notre Dame.
We're about 50 hours from game day here. We're about 18 hours from Tim Priester's first full preview of the football season, I think, about roughly 18 hours, and we are 3 hours away from the Irish Illustrated whiskey tasting at Slattery's. You can join us if you're in Dublin on Capel Street. For John Brice, Tim Priester, I'm Tim O'Malley, and this has been Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis.